The Chicago Cubs made a blockbuster trade for Kyle Tucker, a move that was supposed to give them the inside track on signing him to a long-term deal. But did they even bother to figure out what he really wants? Trading for Kyle Tucker gave the Chicago Cubs something invaluable, an exclusive chance to woo the all-star outfielder before he hit the free agent market. They had a whole season to impress him, to show him why Chicago should be his long-term home. The ideal scenario? Tucker gets a feel for the Cubs' organization, culture, and future plans, while the Cubs gain unique insight into his motivations, priorities, and desires. This information would allow them to craft a compelling offer tailored specifically to what he wants. But here's where it gets controversial. Based on the end-of-season comments from both Tucker and Cubs president of baseball operations Jed Hoyer, it sounds like neither side fully engaged in creating a strong connection. It's as if both parties were acting independently, rather than building a foundation for a potential long-term partnership. Part of this disconnect might simply be chalked up to personality. Tucker is known for his calm and patient demeanor, both at the plate and in life, which will undoubtedly serve him well as he navigates free agency. On the other side, Hoyer's reputation is built on a disciplined, data-driven approach, devoid of sentimentality. This approach has undeniably worked, transforming the Cubs into a playoff contender and securing his own contract extension. During a press conference, Hoyer was directly asked, "Do the Cubs actually know what Kyle Tucker is looking for in a team and a long-term contract?" Hoyer acknowledged Tucker enjoyed his time in Chicago, particularly the atmosphere at Wrigley Field and the enthusiasm of the fans. He stated, "Kyle had a good experience here. Wrigley and our fans made a huge impact, but ultimately, Kyle has a big decision. He's earned the right to not only be a free agent, but to be a coveted free agent. I would expect that they would play their cards kind of close to the vest. And this is the part most people miss. While Tucker made genuine efforts to integrate into the team and connect with his teammates, his reserved personality can make it difficult for others to gauge his true feelings. His agent, Casey Close, is similarly known for his discreet and tight-lipped approach to negotiations. Hoyer's detached style, honed over 14 seasons with the Cubs, further complicates matters. The emotions that often drive big free agent signings, sentimentality, desperation, a sense of urgency, are deliberately minimized by the organization's reliance on its established process. They stick to their valuation models. Despite a somewhat underwhelming and injury-plagued second half in Chicago, Tucker is already drawing significant interest from other teams. Consider the Tampa Bay Rays, for example. They have a new ownership group that might be looking to make a splashy acquisition. Then there's the Philadelphia Phillies, whose owner, John Middleton, is known for his willingness to spend big money and could view Tucker as the centerpiece of a roster overhaul. And let's not forget the New York Yankees, where Tucker is reportedly the top target as they aim to return to World Series contention. Hoyer emphasized the importance of sticking to the organization's valuations, stating, "Not connected to Kyle. I just think in general you have to evaluate. You have to start everything that we do with a valuation of the player, and focus on that valuation. And then, what's that worth to the organization? That's the backbone. In my career, when you make decisions that are based on your valuation and how you value the player, then it sort of takes some of the other stuff out of it. You make better decisions. If you're reacting to how things are going around you, I think that's when you can make a real mistake." Interestingly, Hoyer revealed that he hadn't yet had serious discussions with Cubs chairman Tom Ricketts and president of business operations Crane Kenny about the team's budget for the upcoming season. He also declined to comment on whether the payroll would increase after Wrigley Field hosted 2 playoff rounds, leaving some to wonder if the Cubs are truly prepared to make a significant financial commitment to Tucker. Adding fuel to the fire, there's a growing perception that Wrigley Field is becoming a more challenging environment for hitters. Some argue that the ballpark's dimensions and weather patterns negatively impact offensive production. Hoyer dismissed this notion, attributing it to random fluctuations. While Tucker's .747 OPS at Wrigley Field was lower than his overall performance, Hoyer highlighted the strong offensive seasons of left-handed hitters like Michael Busch and Pete Crow Armstrong as counterexamples. Hoyer acknowledged that the uncertainty surrounding the expiration of baseball's collective bargaining agreement, CBA, in 2026 has influenced the Cubs' approach to long-term contracts. Currently, Dansby Swanson is the only Cubs player with a guaranteed contract beyond 2026. That's been some part of our decision-making, Hoyer said. We've talked about that a lot. As we get closer to the end of the CBA, that conversation probably gets louder and louder. It's something that you have to consider. We don't know what's going to happen. There's real uncertainty there, for us and for 29 other teams. Ultimately, it appears the Cubs will be just one of many teams vying for Tupper's services, rather than having a distinct advantage. When we were at our best, Kyle was at his best, Hoyer said. There's no question he had a huge impact on this team. Obviously, he dealt with some injuries and struggled a bit in the second half, but when you take the totality of the season, he had a huge impact, as we hoped he would. Everyone can use a guy like Kyle Tucker. Everyone gets better by having a player like that. We'll certainly be having those conversations. So, the big question remains, did the Cubs front office truly connect with Kyle Tucker on a personal level, understanding his deepest desires and aspirations? Or will their data-driven, unemotional approach ultimately drive him to a team that makes him feel more valued? And more importantly, is that disciplined approach a sign of prudent management or a fatal flaw in building a championship team? What do you think? Is sentimentality in baseball overrated, or is it crucial for attracting and retaining top talent? Share your thoughts in the comments below.